Hello everybody and welcome to the first week of our kind of second tournament, obviously replacing last year's Road to Ekka. This year's tournament is called Regional Rift, presented by Lenovo. Of course, my name is Mitchell Replays Anderson, joined of course by Maximal von Neumann. How are you going today?
Yeah, I'm feeling very, very good. I'm super excited to get back into League of Legends. I know it's only been a few weeks, but it feels like a few weeks too long since our grand final. It's nice to be back in the studio. Hopefully we can stay here. Fingers crossed. It'd be nice to have an entire season in this studio, but still practicing social distancing. We're doing the smart thing. We're doing things right as we have a new tournament, a shorter tournament, but I think one that will be just as intense.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting setup for this tournament. We're going to divide the state into 4 different regions. We have Regional North, Regional Northwest, I think, Metro North, Metro South, and of course Regional Southwest as well. So that's kind of the Gold Coast region outwards. You've got Metro North, Metro South, which is the Brisbane, Ipswich area. And then of course we have Regional North, which is everywhere else in the state. Today we have 2 sides coming at you from the Metro North region. I believe we have Kelvin Grove versus Dakabin Dragons. There you go. Dakabin Dragons team that did quite well. I think they won a few of those legendary Lenovo Savage plays of the week. You know, obviously, it's a very new tournament. This is a very different setup as well. You're not just versing that whole Swiss bracket kind of style. This is very much everyone's in their own separate little competitions. We have the top team from every region coming into play in our semifinals.
Yeah, but it also means that every game is that much more important, as we will be cutting just to that top 4. So you got to win if you want to advance. And for a team with the name Kelvin Grove, I have a lot of expectations on this Kelvin Grove Red side. They were sort of our Season 1 champions last year. It wasn't this lineup. In fact, this is a completely different lineup. But with that, you know, comes that sense of pressure. I know they did kind of run the cusp of the beginner league, I believe, earlier this year. Now they're playing up there with the big boys in that more advanced league. Dakabin Dragons, you are right that we have seen them have some of those highlight plays in the past. Thank you very much, Lenovo, for being able to show them to us. But what I'm seeing, I believe it was, Asian kid now in the jungle, a little bit of that swap right there. But he was the name that I do remember stepping up. Although, one problem I have with the Dragons, that bot lane, LegendarySettGod and Monkey King main, I will be very disappointed now if we don't see the Zet Wukong bot lane.
That'd be quite an interesting bot lane too. I mean, I did cast a game last time where they had Zed Syndra bot, which is a combination I don't think I've ever seen before, Zed and Syndra with Ori mid, Garen top and Vi jungle. So it was an interesting team composition put together. They did lose in 20 minutes, expectedly. So maybe we'll see a little bit more more natural team building out of both these sides. But I mean, Zed Wukong could definitely work down in that bot lane if you are going for that in the Dakabin Dragon side. I mean, I always think when you're playing in these lower elo kind of tournaments, it's so much more important to have mastery over the champions you're playing, rather than going for a meta style, rather than pulling out an Aphelios or a Corki or a Cassiopeia mid. Just play what you know how to play. Play your Annie, play your Vega. If you know what you're doing, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, well, I do agree with you in the theory of that. I'm not sure I'm sold on a set Wukong bot lane just yet. I'm not feeling that crazy, though. I like to see your attitude right now. It makes me feel good. Makes me feel kind of loose as well, because I am keen to get in this. But when you're looking at that Kelvin Grove side, obviously BLOBMANN up top, Spoda in the jungle, SyntheticCarpet in mid, NoodleNoodles on AD carry, and joshyboiii in support. I'm kind of leaning toward these guys just because of the reputation that Kelvin Grove School has as a whole. They usually put forward several teams. It is a tech school, so tech-minded students. They seem to be good at esports. The school does support them in their endeavors. I've known this in the past. I feel like that reputation alone kind of brings this team with those high expectations. So I am expecting these 5 to really show up today.
Yeah, and especially given the fact they came from a school that's already had winning success in one of our tournaments before. I think they were in that Ekka tournament last year and did quite well. They didn't make it to the stage at the Ekka. So, of course, a lot of a reputation to live up for this side. But on the other side of the bracket, of course, on the red side, we've got the Dakabin Dragons, who will be facing off against them today. Up in the top lane, we've got ChaosV in the jungle, Asian kid. In the support. In the mid lane, we've got... Oh, no, I should have practiced this beforehand.
Vaprot.
Is it something backwards? I don't know. It's probably his name backwards, something like that. We've had some tricky stuff like that before. We've got LegendarySettGod in the AD carry and Monkey King main in the support, rounding out their lineup. And before we get into a little bit more preview for these tides, I'm going to say a few words from our sponsors here, Legion by Lenovo. Legion by Lenovo is a very stylish gaming brand that is stylish on the outside, savage on the inside. It's a premier gaming brand that is perfect for both work and play, with stylish and minimalistic designs that fit in with any environment. If you're battling out in the Rift, hitting the books, or in the board round, Legion by Lenovo is perfect for you. Lenovo is excited to partner with high school esports in 2020 and supports the opportunities that young players get through esports, being able to develop a sporting career that's not on the oval or the court. Lenovo wants to provide technology to all peoples and wants to help all students have the opportunity to play and compete at the highest level in esports. Legion is proud to help support the students of Queensland in competing for their schools and achieve greatness. We thank Legion by Lenovo to pledging their support to UQ Esports and, of course, the regional Rift tournament we're running this term.
You know, I'm just watching these graphics coming up on the screen right now with all of you at home, and I'm getting some serious Halo vibes, and I'm not sure it's just because I just saw that Infinity trailer the other day. I'm excited to see Brutes start kicking some grunts around, but just the color scheme, that whole sci-fi motif, really feeling that. League of Legends sometimes gets pretty sci-fi. I would argue that Piltover is sort of a sci-fi type of town, a sci-fi area. Vi seems like she would fit right in the world of Halo, and maybe we'll see a Vi today. I'm kind of fingers crossed, but that timer has hit 0, so I am expecting us to be jumping into picks and bans momentarily. As soon as that lobby is ready, we will go straight into it, and huzzah! Here we are.
The man says that the man shall receive. Of course, the first ban still waiting to come through, and I mean, looking at some of these clan tags, Wonder, that's an interesting clan. And the first champion man to wait, Lee Sin, a very aggressive jungler, something you don't really see in Bronze to Gold, but obviously must be a specialty of Asian kid over there on the Dakabin Dragon side.
See, I will always ban Lee Sin, regardless, just because he is that popular of a jungler. Even in Gold and below Elos, a lot of times you will run into Lee Sin one-tricks, and if you're not playing jungle, our Lee Sin versus their Lee Sin is a type of situation that I never want to be involved in, so I will ban away Lee Sin from my own team at that same token. Just a smart thing to do. Garen, that is an interesting ban as well. Rek'Sai, again, another jungle ban, and I feel like we kind of brought it up before. Asian kid is one of these highlight players. It looks like he's getting very heavily targeted in this pick and ban phase.
Yeah, maybe trying to push him onto something a little bit less aggressive, something he can't make those highlight plays on. I love this Garen ban as well. Garen, such a great champion for this kind of bracket of skill. He's also been quite strong just generally. He was almost on the verge of pro play a couple patches ago when he was sitting at a 58% win rate with like a 15% play rate, but when he first got that kind of mini rework with the attack speed scaling off his spin to win. So really changed around. And Yasuo, another high impact ban. Going to see him pop up a lot, I think, in these next few weeks of games, especially when Yone gets released. I'm assuming a lot of high school kids are going to jump straight on that duo. Going to be avoiding solo queue for a little bit there.
I was just having a talk about this with some friends actually earlier today. The idea of the Yone Yasuo bot lane.
It's not going to work.
No, it's not going to work, but what you would get is two bot laners each fighting over farm, each going for that 10 death power spike, and then each of them getting absolutely stomped when Mordekaiser arrives on the scene. Speaking of which, BLOBMANN will lock that in as that priority pick for Kelvin Grove.
Such a strong top laner, that Mordekaiser is able to control the lane phase when you're playing it, has so much ability to just control what's going on, and even into something like a Darius, which is going to be locked in for ChaosV, a very strong laner traditionally, but into the Mordekaiser, you rush that Bramble Vest, you'll win that matchup 10 times out of 10 because you're getting your ultimate, stealing those stats off the Darius and beating him in the 1v1. And I mean, that's the goal of the bans there from Kelvin Grove as Asian kid locks in the Zac. Something, you know, maybe you're not going to make as many highlight plays on, not going to solo carry the game. So if they're trying to force him off those carry junglers, they have most definitely succeeded with the BLOBMANN being locked in for Asian kid.
You know, this is kind of an odd tangent right now, but something about UQ High School is the only league and region where I cast where Darius seems to be a top priority top lane pick. I don't know about you, but like, have you noticed that? It seems like students within Queensland love going back to Darius. Not sure why, but there he is. I do like the Volibear pickup for Spoda. Volibear, one of the strongest champions right now. I will admit, I'm not entirely like honed in on the intricacies on how to play him entirely correctly. I do know I've played him a few times on the Rift in that jungle position, where I'm expecting to see Spoda. My strategy has always been sort of right-click the enemy champion, spam the buttons, and usually I get double or triple kills, but I can't really tell you why yet. But I do know in this kind of elo, in this kind of environment, Volibear actually is that champion that can be a surprise carry.
I actually have not played a single game with or against a Volibear.
He's
Actually, no, it's not true. I played one game with a Volibear who rushed Hex like Gunblade and entered the game and lost me it.
Well, I don't expect we're going to be seeing that, but what we are going to be seeing is that Zoe pickup for SyntheticCarpet, as well as Sung Ato. That's a name change going over with Sylas right there. So it does look like there was a bit of a substitution coming in the mid laner for the Dakabin Dragons. They will be going with the Sylas. I'm a little bit surprised to see the Sylas locked in at this stage, considering there aren't really many good priority targets for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do think you've got, you know, Mordekaiser's ultimate's not bad if you are the Sylas. If you ult Mordekaiser while you're in the death realm, I wonder what happens actually. That'd be a cool interaction. You go into like a further death realm?
Yeah.
You go like further down, or do you like reset it, or do you like cancel it?
You just keep going deeper.
You just deeper and
yeah,
deeper.
you just got to keep going deeper.
Anyway, so that is the case going on there. I mean, it's interesting matchup Sylas versus Zoe. I'm not sure if it's matchup I've really seen too much of. I'm assuming Sylas would win that quite handily, given the fact he has probably the bulk to survive the early poke from Zoe, and if he ever gets on top of her, she's going to have a tough time getting rid of him. But again, I'm not too sure, especially with a Zac versus Volibear jungle matchup. I think the mid 2v2 will be quite interesting. I'll have to see exactly what these sides decide to do when they're rounding out their comp, because when you're locking in champions like Zoe or Sylas, it kind of pigeonholes your team into quite a specific style of play. I mean, I think so far what Dakabin Dragons have put together is a lot more of that traditional team fighting comp, and I can see them having a little bit more easy to go success with that clear engage tool. It's the Zac, whether I still think Kelvin Grove really needs to make sure they had a really strong engage support. Obviously NoodleNoodles is already banned out, but maybe something like a Leona, even that Ashe in the AD carry would have been helpful, but been picked up here by LegendarySettGod for the Dakabin Dragon side.
Okay. I have thoughts. I have thoughts on this Ashe lock-in right now, and unfortunately they aren't very good ones. I'm starting to get very worried about Dakabin Dragons in terms of their damage as a whole, as a matter of fact. Sylas will be able to outdamage that Ashe, I feel like, for the majority of plays.
So go Yuumi.
Ooh, Kaisa Yuumi is also kind of a questionable
Pick something
one.
with engage. I mean, like, Yuumi has engage, but like good engage.
Yeah, actually there's a lack of go buttons on one team and too many go buttons and not enough damage on the other right now.
Yeah. I mean, Ashe does a decent amount of damage. She's been rising in a lot of popularity, a lot of utility.
Yes, it's the utility. That is why you take the Ashe. But damage-wise, I've always been finding Ashe to be quite lacking compared to champions like the Kaisa. Yes, Aphelios was banned out. You can't really take that. But Varus, still available on Varus, would have been absolutely beast with the team composition that Dakabin is putting together, because you have that front line. You just need someone with the range who can throw down a lot of DPS relatively quickly. On-hit Varus, I feel like, would have been protected, would have been able to shred these team fights.
I mean, they do have a Darius, to be fair, too.
They do have a Darius, yeah, but Darius, I think, should be in kind of more of that front line role, I'm assuming. I don't know.
Oh, you got Zac, you got Rakan, you don't need Darius. Darius can go full. Let's go lethality Darius this game. Let's get a Yomu's Ghost Plate on this Darius. I want to see him popping that and just running at the enemy team. I would love to see that. That'd be quality.
And then Mordekaiser just takes him to the Shadow Realm, and now what happens? I don't know.
Cooldown. It's only when it's on cooldown.
Okay.
And then he gets Edge of Night, and then he's good to go.
Ashe, it can be that correct champion. Like, I'm not going to trash Ashe as a champion as a whole, but I feel like you shouldn't be relying too much as Ashe as your only sort of range damage source, and I'm worried Dakabin may have fallen into that trap. Kelvin Grove, on the other hand, though, kind of has that opposite problem. They have damage for days, it looks like right now, and a lot of poke damage. We follow through with that all in, but I'm worried when Kaisa goes for that all in, there's not enough crowd control. There's not enough of that support for NoodleNoodles to really be getting a lot of that DPS out without getting jumped upon by the Zac, by the Sylas. These team fights are going to be very, very fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, one team has no go buttons and one team has, as you said, a little bit too many. I mean, the Sylas Ultimate has actually got not a lot of stuff to steal away here. It's probably not the best pickup for the Sylas, but yeah, I suppose that's pretty much the only one. Firelight Trapper, Death Realm, and maybe Volley Ultimate could help with turret diving, stuff like that too. But you have to get in a position to grab the Volibear Ultimate. I don't think that's one the Sylas wants to be in. But no, I can see this bot lane has a lot of go buttons, and especially with the Zac as well as a lot of engage tools. And NoodleNoodles and joshyboiii are going to be very careful down in that bot lane not to get caught out too often. Because if the Zac comes down there with Ashe Arrow up, Rakan ulti up, there's just way too many engage tools, and they're just going to have to burn their flash instantly. They're going to come back in 8 seconds, and they'll be right on top of them all over again.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel there's going to be so much pressure on joshyboiii, especially in the first 6 levels or so, to really be using Yuumi to her utmost advantage and just getting as much poke down as possible. One of the benefits to having the Ashe on the Dakabin side, obviously, is that level 6 kill pressure. And although it's not a Leona, you can still chain the CC quite easily with an Ashe and a Rakan. You bring Zac down there, that's another Leo CC. Okay, that can be a kill. And the way how you best avoid that would be getting that poke and establishing sort of that lane presence. NoodleNoodles' positioning has to be good. You can't be getting caught by those volleys, and joshyboiii has to be on point with the poke right on back. KG can win this game through the bot lane, through that bot side priority, but a lot of pressure is actually on the support.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think NoodleNoodles should be running Cleanse this game. This is one of the very few games I can advocate running Cleanse in the AD carry role, and probably even Cleanse on the mid laner too. I think Zoe would definitely benefit. I mean, Zoe runs Spellbook sometimes these days. I mean, Zoe can run anything. She runs Spellbook, or she runs Comet, Airy, or Electrocute are probably the options you can go for, or Dark Harvest if you're feeling extra spicy. But yeah, no, I definitely think Kaisa should be running Cleanse, because there's no way you're getting caught out, and especially you have a Yuumi there, so you can go for Heal Ignite or Heal Exhaust on that support. You don't need the flash on the little kitty, so not going to be as bad. I mean, you probably actually run a flash on the kitty this game. Yeah, it could actually kind of be worth it if Kaisa, because I'm actually expecting this bot lane to have a lot of deaths.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Like, I reckon if Kaiser gets away with less than 5 deaths, she's had a good game.
Yeah, it's going to feel like that, especially post level 6. Again, another character that I'm going to be watching in this one is actually going to be Spoda on the Volibear. One of the benefits of having the Volibear into Zac matchup is you do have that faster clear, and when you're playing that team composition, that's going to come down a bit when Dakabin hits that level 6 power spike.
Yeah.
They're going to want to have to establish that early pressure, and a lot of times you got to do that through the jungle. Volibear is the type of jungler that you can do that with. Obviously, Volibear does get stronger as well. Hitting level 6, it's easier to pull off those ganks, but you can still, just sort of run straight at your opponent. So, especially when you have that slow clear coming on that Zac side. So I think early tempo is going to be very important for Kelvin Grove, be it through poke, through their support, ganks from their jungler, even BLOBMANN, if he can find a situation where he can get a 1v1 against Darius before those items really start to come in and play around that passive correctively, he can find some success there as well. Kelvin Grove, they need that fast start. It's going to be a lot of the emphasis on whether or not they're going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, because the later this game goes, the more tanky this Zac's going to get, the stronger Sylas is going to get, the stronger this Darius is going to get as well. But I actually think it's pretty even when you look at scaling, and even these late game team fights. They have the Kaiser on the other side. They have Zoe who's going to one-hit people. It's definitely a game where there's no clear better comp, right? You look at both these drafts and you go, look, one team has a lot of engage, one team really lacks engage. So I would say definitely Dakabin Dragons are my favorites for winning this game, because I think in Bronze to Gold, having a lot of go buttons is exactly what you need. I actually don't think you can have too many go buttons, because you're always fighting, always looking for chances to get involved and try to take people out. People are always mispositioning. So if you have the tools to punish it effectively, these quick engage tools, that's the way to go. Whether, if Zoe's walking around and sees Rakan and he's out of position, he hasn't got a lot of tools if he misses that Sleepy Trouble bubble. Same with the Mordekaiser and, of course, the Volibear too. If he's not going to be willing to ult the champion, there's no real way to catch him out.
Yeah, I think positioning is going to be one of the most critical aspects of this game, specifically positioning in team fights.
Yeah.
Because you get caught out, especially if you're on that Kelvin Grove side, you need everyone alive, I feel like, in these fights. The second you lose someone, things can snowball out of control. For Dakabin, however, I mean, you can almost say something similar, but I do feel there is a bit more leeway because of the sheer amount of crowd control. The problem is they can probably win skirmishes, but a full 5-on-5 team fight might be tough for them, especially if LegendarySettGod does get caught or Sung Anto does fall down early. Well, it's really only 2 damage champions, one of which I'd say is kind of half a damage champion, more of a utility champion. Going to be very difficult for Dakabin to really put down that sustained damage in a fight.
Yeah, that is the main issue they have with this comp, but depends how fast they get snowballing. And I think, early on, it's Bronze to Gold. You're going to see people fight like no tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of action happening in this game. So I think Dakabin Dragons will come out on top. I think they're going to snowball quite effectively because they've got a lot of champions that snowball pretty hard, especially, obviously, Sylas and Darius if they're a little bit ahead, they really push their lead. But on the same time, SyntheticCarpet here, I think on the Zoe is going to be a key member to watch as well. Because if she gets fed on this Zoe, she gets strong enough, she's going to run around to one-popping this Rakan, this Ashe, and of course the Sylas as well. It's going to be very difficult to deal with her.
And that is something we have seen a lot throughout our times casting Queensland High School League Legends. Zoe's kind of similar to the Darius. I almost put them in like SA tier when it comes to Queensland High School. Zoe's just always seem to have good games on stream. Don't know what it is.
I see them as SA tier or like F tier. It's one of the Darius either goes 20-0 or goes 0-20. Yeah. I remember we had that one week. I remember the first time we saw a Darius, we were like, what's this? And it went like 20-0, got a pentakill. And the next week, the same player had it and went like 1-15 or something. And it was like, well, that was disappointing.
I mean, that is how Darius goes. So unique how we always seem to get Darius games. Either way, we are on the Rift. Kelvin Grove still staying in blue. Dakabin chilling out in red. Line of scrimmages are set up. No one's going for any invades. What I find interesting, actually, is the defensive ward being placed by Dakabin on their own blue buff, expecting as if some sort of invade happening there, and then leaving it open for the Kelvin Grove side to walk on in. I don't think I've ever seen that opening before.
Well, obviously, they're trying to look for them to go for that invade, and once they spot them on the ward first, they'll come and collapse from those awkward angles to keep them trapped. I definitely think level 1, though, there's a huge advantage to Dakabin. They've got the Ashe slows that helps them set up. We've also got the Zac as well, who has some form of CC, and of course Sylas early on does rush that E straight away. Interesting to see him go for the Electrocute rune rather than that Conqueror as his keystone. I think the Conqueror is much, much stronger. It's kind of what makes Sylas so strong, the fact that he has that ability to heal up as well as his W healing, and it just adds on top of that kind of more bruiser style AP champion that he has become.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. especially when I see that electrocute, that kind of tells me that Sung wants to be a bit more aggressive. When he really doesn't have to be. Dakabin should be playing around level 6, not necessarily looking for engages before then when electrocute really is at its strength. So, going to be very curious to watch this mid lane right now. I feel if Spoda has been paying attention, should be able to read and expect that early aggression coming from Sung, and that could set up for a very effective counter gank, especially considering SyntheticCarpet has that ignite.
Yeah, exactly. And then Zoe is so strong in this 1v1 with, of course, the ability for her spell thieves to take a flash from the enemy or give extra damage to her ignites too. Or any summoner spell she uses when she has those little bubbles that pop up around her. It makes her so strong. I remember when that was the main ability and Zoe would just use a bunch of summoner spells and kill you with the little dots coming off the W. That was a fun time to play that champion. There in season 1. Well, not season 1, season 8 when she first was released.
Grand entrance, not going to connect from Monkey King main. Going back real quick to Sung though as well, I do like the ward that he plays on the Raptors, especially because he was able to spot out that Raptors. That does tell sort of this mid laner from Dakabin that if the gank is going to come, it's going to come from that top side as long as those Raptors are still standing. And that could be that extra protection for the Sylas to continue to play aggressive and use that electrocute to its advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And having that ward that just shows any traffic that jungler's going to walk through there also gives your Zac information about where the Volibear is, as Zac is one of the weakest junglers, levels 1 through 5. He kind of really relies on getting 3 points in his E. To have that escape tool, because before
here we go.
But first gank of the game.
Yeah, we were going to expect early ganks coming from Kelvin Grove, and it's happening up top. Flash already burned by ChaosV, but I do not believe it will save him as the BLOBMANN is able to flash after. Finally, the swing of the mace takes down the Darius, and it is 1-0 for Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if Mordekaiser needed to flash follow there, but definitely went for it and it picked up a kill as a reward. A little bit of CS deficit picked up too, so maybe that's helping out BLOBMANN, who was struggling a little bit in that 1v1, but no flash means that Asian Kid, when he is up and ready to look for ganks, means that could potentially be an option before level 6. Obviously, post 6, this Mordekaiser is going to be devastating, and he has actually got a really good matchup versus the rest of the team, and especially given the fact that the Mordekaiser was the first pick, it's quite odd to see that happen.
Another interesting thing I found through all that as well was how healthy BLOBMANN actually was at the end of that exchange. It means that he was able to stay in lane and now really has caught up into that lane. Granted, you know, the Dorn Shield has been purchased for Chaos as well as the Corrupting Pot, so a small item advantage for Chaos, but at the end of the day, that gank was actually really beneficial for BLOBMANN, and in theory, he should be using it to take that lane over from this part moving forward. That means Spoda can put more pressure down on that bot lane. You've still got a couple minutes left before LegendarySettGod and Monkey King main hit that level 6 and you see that bot lane kill pressure come through. I would like to see one more gank from Spoda down in that bot lane.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something that needs to happen down there. I think, you know, this Volibear is such a strong champion since his rework came up. You know, really propelled him into pro play. He became a champion you could probably pick again when he hadn't been around in solo queue, at least for a little while. So it just has so much gank potential, and the main factor that Volibear has is that dive assist over under those towers.
Oh, here we go. The knockup will connect, but there can be a lot of damage thrown right on back, and Ignite used very prematurely actually by Monkey King main, and I'm very surprised to see that near all-in attempt coming from the bot side of Dakabin. That Ignite would be a very useful tool with an enchanted crystal arrow. Now will no longer be available.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting decision too to do that. I think they were maybe the Rakan wanted to go a bit harder, and
here comes the gank. Yeah, and that will open the door for this gank, but Spoda's very low. He's got to be super careful here. Going to try to back away. The Grand Entrance only knocks up one. Flash forward by LegendarySettGod, yet he cannot secure the kill, and now this Ashe is in a lot of strife. Meanwhile, up above, Asian Kid has gone for the play against BLOBMANN. Will not find that kill initially, and Noodles didn't drop the ward in the bush, so a lot of that damage was not thrown over to LegendarySettGod. At the end of it all, no one dies anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of summoners burn, a lot of key cooldowns burn as well. Flash gone on Ashe, Flash gone on the Volibear heal, and exhaust are burnt on the Kelvin Grove bot side. And now very low here on LegendarySettGod could potentially look for
I don't think you want this fight level 4. You still have a flash and an ignite available for NoodleNoodles as well as joshyboiii, and I feel kill pressure is actually more in favor of that Kelvin Grove side, especially with the Halo Blades up top as well. BLOBMANN continuing to try and fight. We're going into the Death Realm. ChaosV will not be able to escape to the safety of the tower, and you can see the sheer amount of damage BLOBMANN is putting down. It will secure another kill. LegendarySettGod playing so dangerously right now. He has to be very careful. A flash all-in could be in the card for NoodleNoodles. They are looking for it. Monkey King man, though, would be able to possibly make the save, but this Ashe has to be so careful.
Yeah, I mean, especially given the fact that Volibear could still be around. I mean, obviously, he back when he was low, but I would walk straight back to this bot lane if I saw Ashe staying on such low health. It's already got 2 stacks of that passive on, and he's going to have to back off soon. He's just overstaying. He's probably had enough gold to back and pick up a decent amount of items. Obviously, Ashe does go for that Blow to the Ruin King rush, so maybe he was looking for that 1,600 gold to make sure she can pick up that Bilgewater Cutlass in her first back.
This would be so greedy.
But you have to go back.
Oh, well, I mean, look.
I mean, you kind of left your wave in a terrible state, but I guess that works.
I mean, when there's an awkward disconnect, perhaps you can get away with it. We all saw that pop up on the screen. Can't pretend like it doesn't exist, and that could be an awkward situation. There's the reconnect right there. So, fortunately, NoodleNoodles will be back in this one. All right. I was worried Dakabin would have fallen for this trap of playing perhaps a little bit over-aggressive before level 6. Very fortunate for this red side that they didn't get too punished for it. However, the danger that they now find themselves in is actually from the opposite end of the map right now, this top half of the map, as BLOBMANN starting to get going on this Mordekaiser.
Yeah, and Mordekaiser is going to get stronger and stronger too. I was kind of touching on it before we got interrupted by that gank down the bot lane, but Mordekaiser has such a strong matchup into the rest of this lineup because there's no one that can really kill him post 6, right? He has that death room, he can 1v1 anyone, and the Legendaries is so strong into the Darius and of course the Zac too, right? Once he has that % health damage on that first item, you can see he's already picked up that Haunting, guys. And when he picks up the Rylai's as well, he's going to do just so much DPS to these champions. And if he picks up a Bramble Vest early on, which I expect him to do in this matchup.
This could be a little bit dangerous. We're not going to see the all-in attempt just yet. However, with that pressure being put on the top half of the map, it may have just opened the door for a early dragon for the Kelvin Grove side. They have started that Cloud Drake. You can see it on the mini-map. Pings coming down. Dakabin has realized what's happening. It may be too little too late as first dragon will be secure.
Yeah, first Cloud Drake going over to the Dakabin dragon side. The next one spawning up will be that Infernal Dragon there. So it looks like we'll get Ocean or Mountain Soul. Quite defensive Dragon Souls, but really powerful too. So both these sides obviously looking for a bit of extra tank. I would have to say Kelvin Grove are definitely going to be the ones that are going to be more in favor of these dragons. So I think actually really essential they can test for this next dragon while they still have the ability to go for them instead of this Zac, right? Zac still can't contest really the first or second dragon, which is why he hasn't been picked in a long time in professional play. You're just kind of giving up those first few dragons and putting yourself, wrong way.
Well, that's okay. The Sleepy Trouble bubble did connect, so SyntheticCarpet will still be able to walk out of that one away. As we continuing on right now, the bot lane, LegendarySettGod, sort of going to continue to keep trying to shove that bot lane in. This is a bit more what we expected once we've hit level 6. Obviously, that kill pressure does have NoodleNoodles playing a bit more on the back foot. What's interesting is Spoda has actually been spending a lot of time on the bot half of the map, but we haven't seen that come into play at all. Dakabin still able to put that pressure down on the bot side. Now, we can see Spoda possibly running up. I do believe, though, that LegendarySettGod did spot him.
Yeah, I think she walked up into range and was able to spot out that the champion moving up there. But I think the biggest deficit, I think, here for the Dakabin Dragons bot lane, sorry, not deficit, the reason why they haven't had too many ganks is because Ashe and Rakan is quite a safe lane. Ashe, of course, that slow on her passive is so strong. Already has a frozen mallet basically built into the champion's kit, which is really valuable when you come to kiting out and being able to distance it. You know, you get one auto on that Volibear and all of a sudden it's so much harder for him to really walk through and get to the Ashe. So I think, you know, I want to see everyone on Kelvin Grove side except maybe the Zoe pull out a well, CC boots, what are they called?
Merc Treads?
Merc Treads this game, because even though there's not a lot of AP damage, I think the value you're going to get from that CC resistance, given the amount of engage and amount of lockdown that this team has, is going to be so much more value. Tenacity is such an undervalued stat, and the amount of armor you get from Ninja Tabi doesn't really make much of a difference.
Oh, this is bad for Asian Kid right now. Spoda, not only did he steal away the Scuttlebug, but forces out a flash as well. Asian Kid using the Elastic Slingshot to escape. Enchanted Crystal Arrow from downtown misses absolutely everyone. That was a very ambitious ultimate, and now a lot of that kill pressure is going to be gone from the Dakabin bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, they've been shoving this lane hard enough anyway, so it's a bit difficult to actually look for those engage. If they want to look for a fight as a bot lane duo, you always want to freeze away from your tower and then engage when they've got a long way to run back. You know, if you're engaging in this area, they're kind of under tower range whenever, and that makes that execution so much harder, especially in the 2v2, given the fact that, you know, it is two champions versus two champions. It's basically a skirmish, it's a mid-jungle duo. You know, if you're going to look for a fight, you want to make sure you have a long space to chase down. You want to know that you have a while to kind of chase down this enemy team before they have to burn flashes, etc. Because if they're too close to the tower, they're just way too safe with both the champions available, and they can kind of balance your aggro back and forth. So you really need to make sure you have that longer lane. So They need to stop autoing this tower if they want to go for trades, but instead if they just want to sit back and farm up, that's okay too, because they do have a style where they will be better in these mid-game team fights. And of course, Ashe will always have priority given the fact he has such a big range advantage over the Kaiser. Whenever Kaiser's walking up, I can see Ashe constantly putting poke down, which is obviously going to slow the push too, because he's going to be drawing aggro from those minions. As we see, maybe NoodleNoodle looking up to contest it, but he's been sitting back at his tower quite a bit this game.
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of a symptom of these team comps right now for Kelvin Grove. They're going to be forced to play defensively until they can really look to push and almost get that 1 or 2 key fights to win the game. The other thing that I feel is going very well for Kelvin Grove, which actually has me a bit surprised, has been their neutral objective control. You can see on the map right now, Spoda as well as BLOBMANN have started on that Rift Herald. They will get spotted out by ChaosV, but this isn't really the fight that ChaosV does want. Herald will get secured and collected by BLOBMANN. Now you do have, Sunganto there to show up, and the sheer amount of damage put onto this Mordekaiser, he's going to try to escape, but stealing the ultimate away, Sunganto is going to use Volibear to his own advantage and take the kill on the way out. So 2 for 1, first kill going to Dakabin, but they do lose the Rift Herald.
Well, I thought it was going to be a big explosion there, but the Rift Herald going over it means they're going to have a lot more of lane pressure. It means they could maybe use it to set up for this Infernal Dragon that is going to spawn in 35 seconds. Of course, Volibear still, I don't know, I was going to say still quite low, but it has healed up. It has no flash available, so if he wants to go for a steal, he's not going to be able to jump over the wall if that blast cone is still available. Of course, you'd expect Zach to kind of jump over and knock that one out when they are setting up for this Dragons. You see the red side now moving down Sylas there in the jungle, trying to look and set up some vision prior to going for this this Dragon. He has got priority in his mid lane too, and Zoe there's been a very quiet mid lane matchup where I thought there'd be a little bit more action in this early game. I mean, overall, I think is a very quiet game for a high school game. Only 3 kills in 13 minutes is a lot more like watching LCK maybe than Queensland High School League of Legends. But regardless, it's still a decent game.
I enjoy it, and it's interesting because, I mean, Dakabin, for the most part, they did do a pretty good job in playing reserve for the initial start of this game. And oh, well, here comes Kelvin Grove. They're going to try and make something happen. Lost Chapter won't actually be able to catch anyone as LegendarySettGod is going to try to run through the Volibear to escape. Has to burn flash. Teleport's coming through from behind as the elastic slingshot does hit NoodleNoodles, and that is an AD carry in trouble. Trying to flash away, but ChaosV, they're waiting, willing. Kills going in favor of Dakabin as they find 2 quick ones. joshyboiii, the poor kitty, should be able to get cut down. ChaosV secures yet another, and Dakabin just won a very critical fight.
I feel like this is the classic caster's curse. Oh, nothing's happening. It's been quite a quiet game, and all of a sudden the sides decide, right, we're 5-manning bot lane. It's time to press that go button. It's time to hit that trigger. It's almost like we're not watching on a 3-minute delay. And they're listening to our commentary. I feel like sometimes it's almost scary what is happening. But Rift Herald summoned up there on the top side, so we'll maybe trade bot tower for top tower. But the Infernal Dragon plus the team fight gold is definitely the kicker here, putting the game in favor of the Dakabin Dragons and cleaning up that 2,000 gold lead.
And the most important thing that I think they get out of all of that is that Infernal Drake. Up until that point, Kelvin Grove had been kind of taking all those neutral objectives, which I had a bit surprised because I would think that the map control and the spacing would go to the team with the more crowd control. However, they do find their fight. They do get more advantages in them in terms of gold lead now. Okay. Interesting choice to go to the Death Realm. That's actually Sunganto who did it, stealing the ultimate away from BLOBMANN, and it goes in favor. And now this is a very, very statted up set. Or not set. Sylas says jumping over the wall is not going to save you this time, Spoda. A double kill going over to Sunganto, who is now 4-0-2 on the Sylas.
Mordekaiser ulted set while he ulted him. So they went to another Death Realm. So that means Mordekaiser stole the stats back. So Sylas won it in Mordekaiser's Death Realm, which means he didn't get any stats.
Is that how that would work?
I think so. I think that's how the interaction works. This is why it's confusing, right?
Yeah.
I brought this up before.
Who got the stats? Where did the stats go?
Well, I mean, it didn't have the icon next to Sylas' health bar.
True.
So I'm assuming Sylas didn't get any extra stats.
Okay, so the stats just went missing.
They're gone.
They're lost. They're gone to the ether.
Sylas stolen from Mord, and then Mord stolen from Sylas, and then they just died, so the stats just went away.
Look, energy cannot be created nor destroyed like that. It has to go somewhere. The stats have to be somewhere.
Maybe in the rules of Runeterra, that is very different, as the cat just sitting there by himself gets killed.
Yeah, well, okay, a Yuumi should never be alone.
No, a Yuumi should never be alone.
And
just like a Vayne should never be alone.
Exactly, a Yuumi and a Vayne should each never be alone. And when you have a 4-0-2, now a 5-0-2 Sylas on the map before 15 minutes, even more emphasis to never really be alone because he can come from out of nowhere and do just that. So Sunganto, High School League of Legends, there will always be that one player who has that hot start, and it's looking like it's going to be the Dakabin mid laner this time around. No tower dive. Not the smart call right here. A bit of poke thrown back by SyntheticCarpet, but no longer having flash available.
Yeah, and of course the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is still available, so maybe a little bit of kill pressure if they were to land it onto synthetic carpet here in the mid lane. He has a very quiet game on Zoe. 120 CS, 0, 0, and 0. Oh, and that big book has been picked up by the Sylas. I love that, showing he's got the confidence to upgrade that Dark Seal into the classic book of spells.
Yeah, I mean, Magi Soul Stealer, 15 minutes, 502, makes sense to me. Everyone else building tanky, and I was sort of questioning where the damage was going to come from on Dakabin. Well, now we know Enchanted Crystal Arrow will miss. Final Chapter will get 2 roots underneath the tower, but it comes at the cost of the life of Synthetic Carpet. Blobs have been popped. Asian Kid trying to get himself back together. 2 blobs making and slingshotting out of the tower range means the Zac will escape, and good times keep rolling for Dakabin.
Yeah, picking up an extra kill there after a 0-2 start up in the top side. Mordekaiser was 2 kills up on the Darius. As Sylas hit, steals that spider ultimate away.
Oh my gosh!
Man, AD carries is classic. This is a classic mistake of low elo players. We've seen 2 deaths in the side lanes already. If you do not have vision in the area, don't push up. And if you do have vision like you do, look at your mini-map and watch the Sylas coming and run away.
Yeah, I mean, there was vision there. No real excuse, unfortunately, to be caught out in a situation like that. And for the second time, I have to question, why are joshyboiii and NoodleNoodles not kind of pathing together? It's a Yuumi. Yuumi needs to be with the AD carry, and it looks like, you know, I guess this is what you do when you maybe abandon the AD carry and you think, you know what, cats and bears, they can be friends, so Yuumi might be following Spoda for a bit, and oh my gosh, stop trying to challenge wherever Song Nato is, because he's going to be filling up his Soul Stealer very quickly at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have heal reduction, you can't really play versus this Sylas.
All right, and another one's going to try to go for it. Look at the healing he gets back. Oh my goodness, although he might be losing stacks now as the tower doesn't execute, but there are no minions. How does he get out of it?
He can't recall the minion.
Oh yeah, BLOBMANN's just 2v1ing. That's all well and good. He's going to go to the death realm with Asian Kid, but I want to know more about Sylas. Yeah, all right, woohoo, Mordekaiser, he can 2v1. He's a broken champion, overpowered, flash for flash. BLOBMANN actually misses with the swing of the mason, does not get the kill. Execute by Song Nato, and eventually ChaosV takes down the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, lost that 1v1 versus Asian Kid there, even with Leandri's up. It's a bit of a devastating factor there for that Mordekaiser, who started so well, but is now falling a little bit behind. You can see, mainly due to that massive CS deficit that's accrued there, up in that top side, only 120 CS on the Mordekaiser. I mean, Mordekaiser was one of the stars of the team that did take out the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship a few weeks ago, and the Mordekaiser side, of course, up in the top lane. Mordekaiser was that key champion for their top laner up there, who was so strong. And is it the 3rd return of this game? Surely not.
No, that's the second.
Second return. Is it possible to get 3 returns?
No.
You don't think so? It's not
no, it's not possible.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Yeah, no, it's not something that can happen, but Dakabin is going to go ahead and pick up the second one. Granted, KG did get the first one. Ooh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow does connect onto Spoda, who's pulled back in by ChaosV, is able to flash over the wall, but will not escape that basketball hoop of doom. So Dakabin able to find yet another Sleepy Trouble Bubble connecting. Follow-up damage by the Dragon won't be enough to really secure a kill against Asian Kid, who is going full tank, by the way, has the Merc Treads, has the Spectral Co. A lot of magic resist actually coming on the Zac right now. A little bit surprising in that regards, but hey, works for you. That's all well good.
Both the top lane and mid lane are heavy AP.
Yep.
And of course, Kai'Sa has a bit of AP in it as well, so it makes sense to go for that Spirit Visage before moving towards a more
It's also more sustain in your jungle clear as well.
Yeah.
As Dragon is taken by Dakabin, their second Dragon of the game. 1 Infernal, 1 Mountain. Good times all around for this red side, who they're got close to the 10K gold lead at the 20-minute mark. Just was off by 1. 9K though, still nearly insurmountable.
Yeah, I mean, and this game, definitely a bit of a story of the Sylas just kind of popping off in a bit of an death brigade from the bottom lane here. Noodles and joshyboiii, sorry, getting caught up in those side lanes a little bit, and Kai'Sa pushing up once again to maybe go down to Sylas. Please don't happen. It can't happen 3 times. It can't happen 3 times.
It's about to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's happening. It's happening, replays. We get to sit here and watch. Run, Noodles, run! But you can't run fast enough. The chains will lock you down, and Song Nato goes legendary. 1 death, of course, being that execute back in the mid lane. Sleepy Trouble Bowl tries to make a pick happen, but not going to be the case. Can he 2v1? That is the question. Lost Chapter's going to connect, but it matters not if you stand within range. Let's teleport to make it a 3v1. Songanto going to try to escape, but that means less pressure in the mid lane as here comes Asian Kid. The last slingshot does connect, and down goes BLOBMANN. Songanto still alive, has some help from LegendarySettGod. I'm not sure he needs it because he's killing everyone. A double kill from Chaos on the other side of the rift. joshyboiii will fall. That is 4, technically 5 at the start of it all, and Dakabin is running over Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, I mean, he got the Rift Harrow charging down in the mid, and there's 4 deaths are on their side. NoodleNoodles is the only one standing. He got taken out at the start of that whole kind of chain of events, and Dakabin Dragons have definitely taken this game and taken it to the next level by
That slingshot was a thing of beauty. Noodles does not escape. We get the delayed ace. It feels like that was really 6 kills in the span of 1 push, and Dakabin might be ending the game.
I don't think they end the game, of course, yeah, unfortunately. The minions took down the Rift Harrow.
Teleport!
Oh, teleporting in, they're going to go for it. I think the smarter players just go for Baron here. It's 21 minutes on the map. You know they're not going to come and contest now. You split this base up, and I just don't think they've got the damage enough early on. They go back, reset, fill up your items, make sure you spend all your gold, and then come back with those big fat stacks of wallets and throw it at your opponents and win the game.
Oh, it's definitely time to start beating your opponents with wallets, I feel. Although they are sticking around, and this could be greedy. I mean,
when does it turn from a wallet to a money bag? Like when you just get a bag of like coins? Because I feel like a wallet, like sure, you know, it can work, but you know, if you're gonna throw a wallet at someone, it's not like gonna hurt them. But if you have like a big bag of like coins, like you get a bag of 5-cent coins.
Is it like, you know, what the old-timey bank robbers used to have? You know, those burlap sacks with like the actual money thing? Yeah, exactly.
One of those and just hurling it. You know, when do you get that big of a lead?
I mean, look, when you're maybe 12K up, I think that's pretty close to it.
You get a sack of money, it's no longer a wallet anymore, it's a sack.
I mean, and especially if you fill it with gold coins.
I mean, what's $13,000 in gold coins? That's a lot of cash money.
That is a fair bit. Okay, interesting final chapter. The target's actually going to be Monkey King main, it looked like initially, and Spoda just gets absolutely melted. joshyboiii is going to fall. Noodles disconnected yet again. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will connect up above. BLOBMANN will be the next one to fall. Even in the Death Realm, one might think, although he might get Monkey King main on the way out. That said, everyone is falling left, right, and center on the Kelvin Grove side. You can run away, but all what you're doing is running away from your base, which is now in shambles. Dakabin Dragons, on their debut match on stream, are going to beat the school that has fostered champions in the past, and they will take the first round of this Rift Royale.
Yeah, I mean, what a fantastic game from Dakabin Dragons. A very quiet, very slow start, but just turned out to explode in the mid game. We're still not over yet, everyone's fighting.
Oh, speaking too soon, perhaps. Which we can see eventually Dakabin will take it. They are forcing everyone back, and now the Nexus goes down. All right, we are good. Order is restored, although we didn't get full stacks on Songanto.
No, it wasn't 25. The book wasn't that big. The book was, it had a couple pages in it, but it wasn't full. It wasn't one of those Harry Potter-esque, like, big, thick books.
Well, it could have been like, I don't know, maybe the first or second.
Maybe for the second. Ones. It's not Order of the Phoenix.
No, like, definitely not Order of the Phoenix. That was more like Chamber of Secrets, I feel like. And the secret was, don't push down bot lane on your own.
No, don't walk on bot lane without vision. Well...
Just don't walk down bot lane on your own when there is a very angry Sylas on the map. Yeah,
don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, that is one of the awkward things when you play around with a Zoe or Syndra or one of those kind of more controlling mid laners that aren't great in a side lane, even a Zia. I'm trying to think of a big list of those control mages that aren't great in the side lanes. I know as a Zoe player myself, you know, you want to stay in that mid lane because Zoe relies on that poke, getting those angles, and it's very hard to kind of know what to do in that mid game phase because you can't really push a side lane when you don't have one of those champions. You've got to understand that's what your win con is. You just go to the side lane when it pushes to the tower, you collect it, you push it to the river, and you rotate back nice and safe. Otherwise, you're going to get caught out just like that. And if you have your AD carry there, he hasn't got the utility tools to lane by themselves, which is why they get caught out time and time again, unless it's something like a Vayne Lucian. Something that's got a bit of an escape, but you know that's kind of the way it goes in these games. It's only when you see those kind of high, I mean, even challenger players don't know how to do that in OCE.
Yeah,
so like
it is it's a difficult skill to keep in the back of your mind as a game continues to progress. So. As it stands at the end of it all, Dakabin Dragons look quite strong on their debut game. I liked how they waited till post-level 6 before they really started to push their advantages. Songanto, fantastic performance on the Sylas. I mean, he did, you know, had a couple team fights go his way and then took that lead and ran with it. And I think that's what I'm impressed by. A lot of times someone might win an early team fight, get, you know, that double or triple kill, and then maybe kind of peter out because they're still playing a little bit passive. He recognized, like, you know what? I'm now in position where I can win probably 1v1 against anyone, and if they're going to keep coming down that bot lane, I'm just going to keep racking up these kills.
I feel like it's more of like he just like down bot lane rotating a macro. He's literally just like oh, there's a Yuumi here all by himself.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take the free kill. And then the Kaiser walked up and he went, oh, I'll take it. Oh, well, I mean, if you're going to give it to me, I'm not going to say no to 300 gold. I mean, that'd be silly.
That would
right?
be silly.
So I think he kind of just got fed off. Maybe not. I mean, he definitely played well, was in the right position macro and got rewarded for it. But we didn't get those kills necessarily through his own decent play, more just the opponent's lack thereof. Per se. But again, a very convincing win and exciting to see how far Dakabin Dragons go in quite a competitive bracket. I think Metro North is probably the most competitive region of all. Of course, we've got Indooroopilly State High School, the semi-finalists in that bracket as well. I mean, McGregor, who I don't think are participating in Regional Rift. I think the school is, but that particular group of players is not competing in Regional Rift, but they would be in Metro South, I believe.
My Brisbane geography is not as good as it should be.
I think they're down near like Rochdale, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they'd be Metro South, I believe. So, of course, this Metro North has got probably most of the teams we have usually making the finals are from Metro North. So, Kelvin Grove last year, I mean, Indooroopilly made semi-finals this year, I think.
Weren't they finals?
Who?
Indooroopilly.
Sorry, I meant, yes, I meant.
Yeah, they made finals. They came second place, but they were in that final.
Second place, semi-final, second place, same. Anyways, regardless for all that, we'd, I mean, any last words you want to say before we say goodnight?
You know what? I enjoy being back and casting League of Legends again. I think that is the big takeaway I'm getting from this opening cast. Obviously, this tournament, 5 more weeks of seasonal play to go before we get to our top 4. So this is just the beginning of what's going to be a pretty great event. So I'm feeling like, yeah, that was good. I'm now warmed up. Let's get to that next game. Is it Monday again yet or Tuesday?
Tuesday next week. So 7 days away before we're back again.
Is it
a 6-week competition? I think
6 weeks and then playoffs.
6 weeks and then playoffs. So what? 8 weeks?
8 weeks?
8 weeks, 9 weeks total. Something like that. Anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in here today at twitch.tv/UQ Esports or on Facebook if you're watching there as well. My name is Mitch Replays Anderson. I was, of course, joined by Max from Von Newman. We'd like to thank all you guys and, of course, our special sponsors at Legion by Lenovo for sponsoring our Queensland High School Championship Regional Rift Tournament. And we hope to see you guys back here next week at around 4 o'clock for our matches then. Good night.